adventure, sports, outdoors. With host Harry Canterbury.
There I was, back in the wild again, and I felt right at home where I belong. I had that feeling coming over me again, just like it happened so many times before. Yeah.
Hi, Harry Canterbury with another edition of Adventure Sports Outdoors. Join us today as we take a trip down to Summum, Illinois, the birthplace of Smiley Burnett and a guy that you may have never heard of, Fay Rawley. Fay Rawley was a wealthy farmer in the area and was quite a character to say the least. But in November of 1953, he disappeared. And it's thought that he was buried in a local coal mine. So we're going to investigate and talk to some people that were there and saw the activities of the day. Hey, in 1953, Eisenhower was inaugurated, Stalin died, the Korean War ended, I was born, and Fay Rawley disappeared. So stay tuned today for a good show.
Adventure Sports Outdoors, brought to you in part by Corsaw Lumber, manufacturers of quality hardwood products, buyers of standing timber in Smithfield, Central Pool Supply, everything from pools to pool tables and much more in Peoria on West Pioneer Parkway.
Michael O'Brien Commercial Real Estate and Recreational Ground, Remax Unlimited Commercial.
Kelleher's Irish Pub and Eatery, located on Peoria's riverfront, open 11 a.m. daily. And by Allwyn & Sons Meat Company. Our thanks to all of these sponsors.
When I was a kid, back in the 60s, traveling with my dad looking at cattle in the country, we were in the livestock business and we went looking for cattle and hogs. Dad used to talk about a guy by the name of Fay Rawley who disappeared in November of 1953. Kenny and I decided to stop by and see a good friend of mine, Jim Derry, who has lived here for a number of years and owns the property where they believe that Fay Rawley has been buried way back years ago. There has been an excavation done in 1957 and also in 1961. But we're going to visit Jim and go out to the very spot where this all happened. Well, hello, Jim.
Hey, Harry, how you
buddy,
doing?
how's it going? Good to see you. Well, folks, we've got an interesting story today about Fay Rawley, a well-to-do farmer back in 1953 in November, disappeared. And we're on the very spot where that happened. I'm here with Jim Derry, who lives on the property and owns this property in question. And you believe that there's a body there, don't you?
Well, that's what everybody has said all these years, so we have to assume it, I guess, at this time.
Oh, yeah. You better start digging, right?
This is where they dug for him, and this is where they spoiled the dirt. Back years ago, Virgil Ball, which was the sheriff at that time.
So there's two stakes up there that Virgil put in that
he
mark the spot where he believes that Fay Rawley's body still is today.
Virgil told me, he said, 40 years ago, he said, I put a couple stakes out here to where I believe that's where he was at. He said that was the area they drilled and they found the paint chips. And he said, I drove two stakes. And I said, by chance, you didn't put number 9 wire between the two stakes, did you? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, I can tell you exactly where it's at now, because I just got done burning off of it, and that's this hill here.
Well, let's take a look up there, and we're going to go take a walk up the top of that hill right there. And that is where Virgil Ball, the sheriff of Fulton County in 1953, marked it, and the mark is still there today.
The two stakes are still there.
Let's go take a look. Oh, yes. I think Jim's part goat. He can get right up there.
Not too bad. he told them to dig in this spot that evening that he left. And instead of digging in this spot, which would have been under this hill, they dug over there and spoiled on top of the spot. Put this dirt pile on top of the spot.
So Virgil Ball put this on in 1954, 55?
It would have been probably like 55, yeah.
55. And you asked him before he died, did you put number 9 wire around those 2 stakes? And he said yes.
And that's when he said yes. I said, I
so
can tell you where they're at.
These are definitely the stakes put in by Virgil Ball in 1955.
Yep.
You've been here that long?
Yep.
It's a long
He
time.
actually, after I told him I knew where they was at, he come up here and looked at them. He said, this is where I marked.
And so if we move this, how far do you think his car is underneath here?
Well, it would have been, this hill would have been here. It would have been ground level, and then whatever the dirt would have piled up to fill up the pit. So it would be probably, Bob says he thought the coal was about 20 foot deep back here at that time. So you would be looking at another 20 foot or so under this hill.
So once you take this hill and push it off, you got to go down another 20 foot.
Probably another 20 foot.
Wow, it's way down there. I'm here with Bob Bucher, who lives right next to this site. He's a neighbor to Jim Derry. And Bob, as a little bitty boy, you were told that story all the time. I mean, about Fay Rawley's disappearance, right?
Oh yeah, and well, I went to school with his granddaughters, and Linda, the older one, was in my class. But so I grew up familiar with all of it. But
and I'll show. I've got a piece of paper here. They did an article in the Journal Star. As you can see right here, hold that corner there, Jim. As you can see in this picture, where we were standing, we're actually standing a little bit over here, aren't we, Jim? Over to this side?
Actually back right over in here.
We're standing over in here right now, and this has all been taken down because you've bulldozed that out. But if you'll notice all the people that looked at this event right there, and of course the sheriff, Virgil Ball's down here, and some of the coal mine people. And it was quite the spectacle. I mean, it was a big deal. People were looking for this guy. And the stories that I heard about Fay Rawley, that if you needed money and you couldn't get a loan at the bank, he'd loan it to you. He was actually a really good guy, is what I heard. I stopped at one of my regular stops in Astoria, Clyde's Fast Stop on Main Street, and there was 2 ladies in there that used to work in a restaurant that knew him. So we spoke to him and were really enlightened about the whole event. I'm here at Clyde's Fast Stop in Astoria. I just walked in here to get a sody and was talking about Fay Rawley, and these gals here said they knew him. They used to wait on him here in Astoria many years ago. And your name's Betty, and can you tell me a little bit about what he looked like and about him?
He wasn't very good looking, but he always dressed nice, and he'd tip us once in a while.
How much?
Maybe 50 cents
50 cents.
if you ate a meal.
And when you were working back then, how much did you make an hour?
Well, 25 to 30 cents an hour.
How old were you?
I think I was 17.
17? Is that right? And you were about the same age?
Right.
Is that right? And what do you remember about him?
I'm not going to say what I know about him.
Do you have any idea? Well, he was, right?
Yeah. He loved women. He was a ladies' man.
He was. Do you think that might have been why he got in trouble?
Yes.
Do you know who may have done it?
Not really. But one of his lady friends was from Astoria that saw him last. But I won't give her name.
Well, nobody will talk. And you're just like everybody else. You won't say a word.
No.
How much is it going to cost to get you to tell me what you think he did?
$1 million.
$1 million. All right, hey, do you work cheaper?
No.
Did you go out to where they were digging at that time? You were, and what did it look like?
Well, just a lot of people out there. And he could still be out there.
Well, we were just out at the gravesite, and Jim Derry, of course, owns the property, and he thinks he's buried there, too.
Yeah.
And so did Virgil Ball, who was the sheriff at the time.
He was the one that did all the digging. Yeah.
So it was like a circus out there. I guess they were out there drinking and...
They had food and drinks to sell. Yeah.
So it was quite a spectacle, to say the least, right?
It was.
You remember him driving around in his big car all the time?
He had a Cadillac. Yeah. I don't think he was too busy out chasing women. I don't think we saw too much of him.
Well, hey, thank you, Betty, and thank you.
Now, we better look good.
Well, you look great. And what did you see back in 1955?
It drew a big crowd. I mean, there were people come in from miles around. There was airplanes coming circled over. They dug for Fay Rawley with that drag line. They had started to preliminary. They had gone in with drills, and they had come up with some metal drill particles that they said could be. It is possible that they could be with from that kind of a car. I think it was a Cadillac. I'm not sure, but it was a high-priced car. Fay Rawley liked to go first class, so that's pretty much what it was like when they were looking for Fay Rawley.
And what did you do up there where Fay Rawley was supposedly buried?
I was the bulldozer operator. We was hunting for him.
What do you think happened to Fay Rawley? Do you think he's buried out there?
Oh, I do. There's no doubt in my mind. I think he's there somewhere or another. But we just wasn't in the right place, probably. And the detectors wasn't that all great at that time. Not like they are today.
Yeah. Well, have you any idea who did it?
I didn't have any idea at all.
You heard some stories, though, right?
Oh yeah, I heard a lot of stories, but I knew all of them, and I just don't think they done it. I don't know.
Did you ever meet Fay Rawley?
Oh yeah, he was a good friend of mine.
He was?
Oh yeah. I had him up one day for a big loan, and he pulled it out of his pocket. He said, "Sure."
You know, we had a lot of older folks there in Astoria that were around at that time. We had the people that were the waitresses that served Rawley in the restaurant. We talked to the bulldozer operator who was there on the site. And now we're going to talk to the son of the sheriff, Virgil Ball. We're here with John Ball in Lewistown, Illinois. And we're going to finish our show talking to the guy that knows a lot about it. John, tell us about your dad. He was a Marine, a neat guy. Everybody loved Virgil Ball. He's been gone for about 20 years now, but really a great guy. Tell us about your dad.
Well, Harry, my father was a decorated Marine who served during World War II. When he came back to Fulton County, he was first deputy sheriff and later ran for sheriff. He took office in 1954. Mr. Rawley had disappeared in late 1953, and the family contacted my father. They were concerned about the disappearance of their grandfather, and so my father picked up that investigation.
And where did he go with it? What did he do, John?
He talked with a lot of the locals to try to establish a timeline. That, along with the initial report, indicated that Mr. Rawley had been taken forcibly from his home. The evidence in the home pointed in that direction. And at the time, Mr. Rawley's residence was directly across the road from property he owned that he had leased the mineral rights to the Key Coal Company, and they were currently mining that property. And during the course of the investigation, he established that Mr. Rawley's automobile, a 1953 Cadillac, was seen late at night entering the mine.
And the question I'm going to ask you, and you've been asked this many times, I'm sure, because this is really a unsolved mystery in Fulton County. You've been asked this question. Did your father have a gut feeling who really did the crime?
I'm sure that based upon, again, information that he had developed, that he felt pretty confident he knew who had committed the crime. And he kept that information very close because, well, of a number of reasons. Number one, you don't want to tip off people that perhaps you suspect them. And obviously you don't want to smear the reputation of someone if you're incorrect in where the evidence was pointing.
They started the digging in 1957, I believe, according to the papers. I thought it was 55, 57. And again, they went back and did it later, didn't they?
Yes.
And here's a picture of you, and I'll see if my video guy can get it. There's a photograph of you sitting on top of this mound where we were yesterday. I believe that's the same mound with the dog that you grew up with. It looks like a Dalmatian.
The dog's name was Sarge, by the way.
Sarge.
Was appropriate.
Yeah, we always love our dogs. Mm-hmm. But you got to see some of the digging at the second digging, correct?
Absolutely.
And what was that like? They were just milling around, or I mean, there was no big deal like the first dig.
There was a big deal, but it was a little lower key. Although Mike Rollins and WIRL's Big Red was out there periodically to give radio listeners kind of a
blow by blow.
Yes, and but it was they had more information the second time around. They felt, and they had utilized a magnetometer mounted on a Jeep that was brought in from the University of Illinois, and they also had drilled with a drilling rig like you use if you're drilling for coal. There was a piece of green paint. The Cadillac was green, by the way. There was a piece of green paint that was brought up when they were drilling, and that was sent to the FBI crime lab in Washington, D.C. And the composition of the paint was the same as the paint that was used by General Motors
in 1953.
Yes, yes.
And now we've got something. This isn't over with. We're just getting started. We're going to contact the University of Illinois and find out if we can get some equipment over here at the dairy farm and look for Mr. Fay Rawley. We'll let you know how it goes. And if you're interested or have information about this event that happened in 1953, the disappearance of a local farmer, a big deal in Fulton County, write us at this email, asoharry@gmail.com. That's asoharry@gmail.com. We'll see you next month.
Hi, I'm Dave Barth with your Sportsman's Tip of the Week. Nothing's in season right now except varmints, and I have a good example of some Savage rifles that would make nice varmint guns. The first one right here is a new caliber on the market. It's a Savage model B-Mag, and it's in a 17 Winchester short magnum, which is a rimfire cartridge. This is a Savage 17 Hornet, which is a 22 caliber Hornet, neck down to 17, came out a few years ago. The rifle next to it with the wood laminated stock is a 17 Hornet heavy barrel. Not great range, but it's a fun caliber. Next to that, we have a scoped Savage Axis rifle in 223. Greater range, a good 300 or 400 yards. Next to that, we have a 22-250, a lot bigger cartridge. The ammo's a little bit more expensive, but much greater range. It's a 400 or 500 yard rifle pretty easily. If you want a little larger caliber that you can also use out west, we have a Savage with a camouflage stock in 243. It's a fine deer and antelope cartridge as well as a varmint cartridge. You can get as small as a 58 grain bullet in that cartridge up to 100 and some grain bullet. The ammo for these rifles is right here, and we'll start here on the left. And this is a Federal-made American Eagle 17 Winchester Super Magnum. It's a rimfire cartridge, came out a few years ago, and they come in boxes of 50. Next to that is the 17 Magnum, the VMAX, and it's also rimfire cartridge. Stepping up a little bit, we have the 17 Hornet, the 22 Hornet, a 222, 223 from Hornady, and then we have a 2250, 22-250, and a 243. Excellent varmint cartridges, medium to long range. I'm Dave Barth with your Sportsman's Tip of the Week.
Hey, now we're going to go down to Springfield, Illinois and see some good friends. The Illinois State Rifle Association. If you're not a member, you should be. And the participation in the march this year was not as big as it was last year. A lot of folks think that because we have the concealed carry law in Illinois now that they don't need to participate. We need to all participate in keeping our guns. So here's a short segment about what went on this last month. Hi, Harry Canterbury here in Springfield, Illinois. We're down here at their Civic Center, downtown Springfield. I'm here with Richard Pearson, Chief Executive Officer for the Illinois State Rifle Association. And we're here at the Igold meeting. And what does Igold mean, Rich?
That stands for Illinois Gun Owners Lobby Day. And we've been doing this since 2007, and we had lobby days back into the 1990s. But we've recently become very, very effective at lobbying, and so we like to bring all the gun owners down here, dress them up in gold shirts and hats, and send them over to the legislature and let them look at what gun owners look like.
Now we've had some advances in rights in the state of Illinois. Illinois is the last state in the union to get the right to carry. And how's that been going? As I understand, we haven't had an issue at all.
No, we actually haven't had any issues. Yesterday we hit the 100,000th permit, which was the St. Patrick's Day. And so it's going very, very well. Crime is going down, and the anti-gun people can't explain why.
Rich, I want to thank you, and you just do a great job for the people of the state of Illinois, and have been doing it a long time. One of the most dedicated men in the state of Illinois to help keep the Second Amendment alive in this country. Thank you. Why are you here at this event?
I'm here to support all civil rights, in particular the Second Amendment.
Sir, why are you here today at this event?
I'm here because we're here to support our Second Amendment rights. This is, Second Amendment belongs to the people of America, and we have to, we have to recognize our rights and have our rights.
Sir, why are you here at this event?
To support Illinois gun rights and to make sure that the legislators don't take any more of our gun rights away from us, and to help improve our concealed carry that we already have.
And why are you attending this event here in Springfield today?
To continue fighting for gun rights for the Illinois residents.
And you too?
Pretty much the same. I'm just very concerned that as time goes on, we've had a few victories, but we need to keep the pressure on, because every year the anti-gun politicians from Chicago are going to be making their push here in Springfield, and we need to make sure we push back.
And why did you come here?
Well, I just need to support our gun rights and make sure that we've got concealed carry now, and we need to expand that and just promote that and get more places where we can carry.
I'm a strong supporter of all of our constitutional rights, and I feel like if our Second Amendment rights go, then the rest of them will too.
Why are you guys here with your dad?
To protect gun owner rights.
Igold has become the #1 demonstration of citizens promoting gun owner rights in the United States, and you can give yourself a round of applause for that one.
If you're current military or if you're a veteran, please stand up and be recognized.
Second Amendment rights are hugely important. And that's one of the reasons why I've signed on to, I believe I have like 8 to 10 bills dealing with the Second Amendment right. We cannot give up on our laurels. Now is not the time to stop the fight, because it's just begun. Concealed carry was the beginning of a long and arduous fight to preserve the Second Amendment.
This was a journey that my father took on headstrong, excuse me, a journey that we, his family, and all of you, his supporters, will forever and ever and will never forget. My father's legacy will live on forever in each and every one of us, including each and every one of you. I would also like to thank the entire Second Amendment Foundation, who sincerely supported my father through his legacy. As most of you know, my father released a book in September of 2012. The book is entitled An Act of Bravery, Otis McDonald and the Second Amendment Foundation.
We all headed outside to get organized for the march down to the state capitol. And what a beautiful day for a march. Dave, what brought you down here to Springfield?
Well, as you're well aware, I'm recently retired, so I got the opportunity to come today. And I tell you what's impressive about this is the number of people, number one, that it really instills in one the fact that you need to become involved, you know, to get things done, be here, be the support, and get the things that you want accomplished done through government.
And why did you guys come down here today?
Mainly to support and defend the Second Amendment rights, especially for women.
And came here to defend the Second Amendment rights. And this man behind me knew what the Constitution was all about, and we're here to defend this.
Adventure Sports Outdoors, brought to you in part by Corsaw Lumber, manufacturers of quality hardwood products, buyers of standing timber in Smithfield. Central Pool Supply, everything from pools to pool tables and much more in Peoria on West Pioneer Parkway. Michael O'Brien Commercial Real Estate and Recreational Ground, Remax Unlimited Commercial. Kelleher's Irish Pub and Eatery, located on Peoria's riverfront, open 11 a.m. daily. And by Allwyn & Sons Meat Company. Our thanks to all of these sponsors.
We all need to go to the Igold event that's held once a year in March. It's very important that we preserve our Second Amendment rights in this state. They don't want you to have them, but it's our right, and don't you ever forget it. Hey, we had a great time in Springfield, and we had a wonderful time in Fulton County. I love those folks. They're very kind and humble and sweet folks, and it's always a joy to go down and visit with them and talk to them. If you've never been down around Astoria and Lewistown, you need to go because the folks are really, really nice. But this thing's going to go on. If you have any more information on the Fay Rawley ordeal, you can email me at asoharry@gmail.com. And fishing season is just around the corner, and next month we're going to do some fishing. So we'll see you next month.